Hi, everyone. Welcome back for case study number 3 of the Atlas Annuity Strategy. Let's jump right into it. And again, just a quick disclaimer that this video is for educational purposes only. This is Tom and Sarah, age 71 and 67. They currently operate a business and own multiple rental properties. They're wanting to preserve as much principal as possible for their benefit. However, that really is not the main purpose, because the business and the properties are going to get passed on anyway. But they're wanting to reduce market volatility and sequence of returns risk without sacrificing growth opportunities. Now, their total guaranteed income from Social Security, and that's in addition to their business income and their rental real estate, they have almost $1.6 million in a 60-40 portfolio of stocks, looking to withdraw an additional $42,000 per year, but would like a 3% inflation increase built in there. That puts them right at about a 2.65%. Now, we looked at several different scenarios, but what they liked best was something called the flex strategy. Now, I wish I could take credit for this, but I actually learned this strategy from my friend Brian Anderson over at Annuity Straight Talk. And it's a great strategy. But personally, I only feel comfortable recommending it to people who need about a 3% withdrawal rate or less. So basically, what we are doing is taking the portfolio and replacing it with a no-cost fixed indexed annuity that will track a market index, but it protects their money from losses in the down years. Thing about fixed indexed annuities, you can go to my podcast or my YouTube page and listen to episodes number 3 and number 5. Think of this as the Atlas do-it-yourself strategy, because it's going to be more of a fluid scenario versus just having the built-in guaranteed income rider. That's what they wanted, because some years they may take more and some years they may take less. And at the end of the day, that's totally fine. I tell all my clients, this is your money, and I'll help you do whatever you want as long as it's more legal and ethical. Here are the different scenarios that we've modeled. Number 1, doing what they're currently doing in a 60-40 portfolio. Number 2, having all of the money in like an S&P 500 index fund, sequence of returns, starting in the year 2000 to present. Number 3, we look S&P 500 index fund, but with a positive sequence of returns going back to the year 1995. And then number 4, we looked at the Atlas Annuity Strategy with 60% of the money in the S&P 500 and 40% in a fixed indexed annuity. Let's take a look at what they're currently doing with the 60-40 portfolio. The good news is they would be totally fine doing what they're doing. Even using some pretty rough years for the 60-40 portfolio, they still have about half of their money left at Sarah's age 100, but they're also getting killed in management fees. Then we looked at what would happen if they went all in on the market, but then the thing tanked and there was a negative sequence of returns like there was starting in the year 2000. But even in the worst case market scenario, the money they needed would last until Sarah was 99. But at the end of the day, I can't be a hypocrite, because it could go the other way and the market could take off. And if we look back to what happened from the year 1995 on, then they would end up with $32 million at Sarah's age 100. But they didn't want that. They're not dummies. They built a successful business and own lots of real estate. They know this could happen, but they weren't willing to risk the other scenario of a negative market and possibly lose everything they worked for. And that's why they were still talking to me, because every other advisor they talked to was trying to get them to go all in on the market and only showing them the positive side of it. But they knew it could very easily go the other way. But regardless of what they did, they were going to be totally fine. And I'm not afraid to tell people that. You see, I'm in a fortunate position that if I never sell another annuity, I'll be totally fine. I don't have to hype anything up. If I can look at a worst case scenario and tell a potential client will be okay regardless if they do business with me or not, then I'm going to tell them that. However, even though I don't need their, I'm going to see if there's something still providing them opportunities, but also mitigating risk as much as possible. Proposed was to de-risk that can at times act like an anchor on the rest of the portfolio when rates are low. We looked at approximately 640,000 of their 1.6 million going into the fixed indexed annuity. Now, I even tried to put the odds against the Atlas plan by choosing a top-rated company. We want to use good, solid companies, but taking one of their indexes that doesn't necessarily set the world on fire. Because you can see here in the red circles on the left side, there are plenty of years when the annuity didn't perform at all and had a 0% return. But here's the key. The annuity never loses money to a market downturn. And when you can stop losing money, you'd be shocked at how much farther ahead you can get, even with a lower overall return. What works is to have the annuity act as a safe bucket of money to draw from when the market takes a downturn, with the intent looking at a worst case scenario with returns going back to the year 2000. When there's a downturn in the market, like the red boxes on the right side, we wouldn't want to draw from the equities until the balance gets close to or 960,000. And by allowing their equities time to recover, we preserve the potential for future growth. And they ended up with a little over 1.6 million at Sarah's age 100 between the annuity and the equities, or basically what they started with, even after taking all the money out for income. Okay, but what happens if the market goes crazy like it did in 1995? How did that turn out? At Sarah's age, 3.5 million in the annuity. That sounds pretty good for doing nothing but just swapping the bonds for the annuity. And it's not 32 million if they the market with these type of returns, but 20. They weren't willing to risk the alternative worst case scenario by having all of their money in the market anyway. Now, this is a perfect scenario here, okay? And obviously, no one can guarantee any of this because we don't know what the market. But can you see the power of having a safe bucket of money to draw from when the market starts to crash and then giving yourself the time to rebound? And again, this is a flexible strategy. If we need to change something along the way, then we can. Well, let's do a quick recap here. Got Tom and Sarah's Atlas Annuity Strategy. We're going to de-risk the bond money using a fixed indexed annuity. There's no income rider, so it allows for flexible withdrawals as far as the amounts. We're going to protect 40% of their portfolio and allows still some market type returns in the fixed indexed annuity, and it has no fees. Because there is no income rider that guarantees a certain amount every year, the fixed indexed annuity has no internal cost with it. And a lot of times that gets overlooked. But if they're paying 1.5% between the advisor fee and the fund fee, that bond portfolio worth $640,000, we just put $9,600 back in their pocket in year one. And again, it allows for the flexible withdrawal amounts every single year. So everyone, that's going to wrap up case study number 3. If you're ready to see what the Atlas Annuity Strategy can do for you, then book a short time to talk and get your questions answered by going to atlasannuity.com or by clicking the schedule a call button in the top right corner of any page on my website. And let me encourage you to stick around for video number 5, where we'll do one more case study and wrap up the 20% more spendable income in retirement video series. I'll see you over there.